Rome was the greatest power on earth, yet it was ruled by fear. Not fear of enemies outside the empire, but fear of the men on the throne. Two names still haunt history: Caligula, Nero. Before they became monsters, they were once boys shaped by violence, loss, and power. To understand their cruelty, we must return to the beginning. Caligula was born in the year 12, into the most dangerous family in Rome. His real name was Gaius Julius Caesar Germanicus. He was the son of Germanicus, Rome's most loved general. The army adored Germanicus. The people trusted him. Many believed he should rule Rome one day, but that love placed a target on his family. As a child, Gaius followed his father to military camps. Soldiers dressed him in tiny boots and armor. They laughed and called him Caligula, meaning little boots. Sounded cute, but behind those smiles was a brutal world. Gaius grew up surrounded by soldiers, weapons, and death. He learned early that power came from fear and force. When Caligula was only 7, his father died suddenly in Syria. Many believed Emperor Tiberius ordered the death. The truth was never proven, but what followed was far worse. Caligula's mother, Agrippina the Elder, accused the emperor openly. For this, she was exiled. Caligula's brothers were arrested. One by one, they died in prison. Some starved. Some were forced to kill themselves. Caligula survived. But survival came at a cost. He learned to hide his thoughts. He learned to smile while surrounded by enemies. At the age of 19, he was summoned to live with Tiberius on the island of Capri. Capri was not a palace of peace. It was a place of fear, rumors, and secrets. Executions were ordered in silence. Lives ended with a whisper. Caligula watched. He listened. He learned how absolute power worked. Later, he would say, "No one knew what I was thinking." That was his shield. By the time Tiberius died in the year 37, Caligula was ready. When Caligula became emperor, Rome celebrated. The people believed the nightmare was over. They saw the son of Germanicus as a savior. For the first months, Caligula ruled with kindness. He freed prisoners. He honored his family. He gave money to the people. Rome felt hope again. But something dark was growing beneath the surface. Nero was born almost 25 years later, in the year 37. His birth name was Lucius Domitius Ahenobarbus. Unlike Caligula, Nero was not born into love or respect. His father was cruel and violent. His mother was ambitious beyond measure. Her name was Agrippina the Younger. Agrippina believed power belonged to her by right. She was the sister of Caligula. She watched her brother rise, fall into madness, and die. From that moment, she vowed her son would rule Rome, no matter the cost. Nero's father died when he was very young. Agrippina was exiled during Caligula's reign. Nero grew up without stability, without safety, without trust. His early years were filled with fear and uncertainty. When Caligula was assassinated, Claudius became emperor. Claudius was weak, easily controlled, and desperate for family. Agrippina saw her chance. She returned to Rome. She married Claudius. She forced him to adopt Nero as his son. From that moment, Nero's path was fixed. Agrippina removed every rival. She arranged marriages. She ordered deaths. She controlled the court. Nero was trained not as a man, but as a weapon. His tutor was Seneca, a famous philosopher. His guard was Burrus, a loyal general. They tried to guide him toward balance. But Agrippina ruled his life completely. Nero learned that love was control, that family was dangerous, that power meant survival. When Nero was only 16, Claudius died suddenly. Many believed Agrippina poisoned him. Rome never proved it. But Nero was declared emperor before Claudius was even buried. Now both nightmares had risen, but their roads to power shaped them in different ways. Caligula believed the world had betrayed him. He lost his father. He lost his family. He trusted no one. He ruled to punish Rome for its cruelty. Nero believed the world owed him everything. He was shaped by a mother who told him he was chosen. He ruled to be loved, admired, and praised. Yet both carried deep scars. Caligula ruled alone. He trusted no advisors. He mocked the Senate. He believed himself above human limits. Illness struck him early in his reign. When he recovered, people said he was changed. More violent, more unstable. Nero ruled behind others at first. Seneca and Burrus guided him. For a short time, Rome knew peace. But Nero grew restless. He hated being controlled. He feared his own mother. Caligula's rise was fast and explosive. Nero's rise was slow and suffocating. Caligula demanded worship. He dressed as a god. He humiliated nobles for pleasure. He laughed at fear. His childhood taught him that mercy was weakness. Nero demanded applause. He performed music. He acted on stage. He punished those who did not admire him. His childhood taught him that love must be forced. Both men were young. Both held unlimited power. Both believed Rome existed for them. As Caligula tightened his grip, conspiracies grew. Fear spread through the palace. Assassination whispers filled the halls. His guards watched him closely. As Nero settled into power, his greatest threat lived beside him. Agrippina refused to release control. She reminded him daily who placed him on the throne. Rome waited to see who would break first. This is where the rise ends. Two emperors shaped by blood, loss, and ambition. One forged by terror. One forged by control. Both standing at the edge of history. What followed would decide who truly became Rome's greatest nightmare. Power does not always fall with a battle. Sometimes it rots from the inside. When absolute power met broken minds, Rome paid the price. This is where Caligula and Nero crossed the line from rulers to nightmares. Caligula's rule changed suddenly and violently. The young emperor who once smiled now ruled with rage. He no longer trusted anyone. Every laugh sounded like mockery to him. Every whisper felt like betrayal. Caligula believed fear was the only truth. He mocked the Senate openly. He forced nobles to run beside his chariot. He stripped powerful men of their wealth for sport. He executed people without trial, sometimes without reason. He demanded to be treated as a god. Temples were built in his honor. Statues of gods were replaced with his own face. He appeared in public dressed as Jupiter, Apollo, and Mars. To question him was death. Rome lived in silence. Friends feared friends. Families feared servants. The palace echoed with footsteps and screams. Caligula enjoyed humiliation more than justice. He ordered executions during meals. He laughed while people begged. He believed suffering proved his control. To him, cruelty was power made visible. Money vanished quickly. Caligula spent Rome's wealth on games, palaces, and luxury. When the treasury emptied, he turned on the rich. False charges followed. Confiscation followed. Death followed. The guards who once protected him now feared him. He insulted them. He threatened them. He reminded them they lived only by his will. Conspiracies grew in the shadows. The emperor sensed it. But instead of stopping, he pushed harder. Fear became his weapon. Fear became his weakness. After less than 4 years on the throne, Caligula was murdered by his own guards. Stabbed in a palace corridor. His wife and child were killed soon after. Rome did not mourn. Rome breathed again. But the nightmare did not end. It waited. Nero's terror was slower. More theatrical. More destructive. At first, Nero ruled with guidance. Seneca advised him. Burrus controlled the army. For a few years, Rome knew calm. But Nero wanted more than peace. He wanted praise. He loved music. He loved acting. He loved attention. He forced Rome to watch him perform. Leaving early was dangerous. Clapping was required. As Nero's ego grew, his fear grew with it. His greatest fear was his mother. Agrippina reminded him who made him emperor. She threatened him with rivals. She demanded control. Nero chose one solution. She had to die. He planned her death carefully. Collapsing boat failed. Assassins finished the task. When Agrippina died, something inside Nero broke. He was free, and completely alone. After her death, Nero lost restraint. He replaced advisors with flatterers. He punished disagreement. He trusted no one. Then came the fire. In the year 64, Rome burned. Flames consumed homes, temples, and streets. For days, the city collapsed into smoke and screams. Rumors spread that Nero watched and sang. The truth remains unclear, but blame needed a target. Nero chose the Christians. They were arrested. They were tortured. They were burned alive. Rome watched terror as entertainment. Nero rebuilt Rome, but for himself. A massive golden palace rose from the ashes. Its walls shined with gold and jewels. The people paid the price through heavy taxes. Executions became common. Senators died. Generals died. Even Nero's wife died, killed by his own hand during rage. Rebellions spread across the empire. The army turned away. The Senate declared him an enemy of Rome. Nero ran, abandoned, hunted, alone. When capture became certain, Nero ended his life. His final words were filled with regret, not for Rome, but for himself. 2 emperors, 2 ends, 2 legacies of fear. Caligula ruled with open madness. Short, explosive, terrifying. Nero ruled with selfish desire. Longer, deeper, more destructive. Caligula made Rome fear him. Nero made Rome suffer him. History judged both harshly. But if Rome had to choose its worst nightmare, the answer depends on the pain remembered. Caligula was the storm. Nero was the fire. One burned fast. The other burned everything. If this journey through Rome's darkest minds stayed with you, subscribe now for stories that history never forgets. Give this video a like to keep these documentaries alive, and press the bell so you never miss the next rise or fall of power.